Hello, hello. Hold on. I can't hear nobody.
Oh, I was muted.
Okay. What's up, guys? How are y'all doing?
I'm doing good.
Good. Good. Oh, perfect. You got it recording. Awesome. If I wanted to do that, is there a button somewhere low that if I want to record, where is that?
Actually, I didn't hit that. Did you hit that, Shauna? All right.
You know what? It might have been me. I think that I might have set it up to where when I had my meetings, they recorded.
Yeah. So
Okay.
it's the button is right to the right of the share screen button. It just says record, and I think all you do is hit that, and then I'm sure once the meeting's over, it'll ask you like if you want to save
it. Okay. Cool. Yeah, I see it right here. Pause. Stop. Okay. Perfect. Awesome. We'll wait just a couple minutes and then let people kind of come in if anybody's coming. So, hi, sweet girl.
Go ahead.
Hi.
Oh, excuse you.
Hi. What's your name?
You say Layton? No, not yet? Okay.
Say such a pretty name. How old is she?
She'll be 2 in June. I don't even know what month we're in.
Okay.
Almost 2.
Almost 2. Love it. My daughter Gemma just turned 2 not long ago. So she's a little over 2. So they'd probably be BFFs.
Yeah. Yeah.
Huh?
Shauna, I'm guessing, did you and Lo meet?
We just waited.
Not really.
Okay. Okay. Cool. Okay.
Hello.
Oh, hello.
Well, Shauna's in California, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Shauna's in California. So I was like, that's super cool. So it's early for her. It's late for
Yeah,
us.
this is the sun coming in right now.
Yeah.
Rub it in, Shauna. Rub it in.
Yeah. So Lo is a big traveler. She has traveled like so many like different places, like all over the world and stuff. Where was it that you went for a long time and did that really cool like experience?
Oh, I went to Thailand last January.
Yeah.
And I was there for like 18 days or like 3 weeks or something.
Wow.
And we stayed at we found this park, and it was called Elephant Nature Park. And
Yes.
it was like a reserve for rescued elephants. And then when we got there, it was also a reserve for all these other elephants. So this woman just saw it in her. There was some calling in her to try to protect these animals.
Wow.
And her story is just like, it blows me out of the water every time. And so we got to like help feed the elephants. We got to clean up after them, like clean their poop. And their poop is like a little bit smaller than my face, but like perfectly round balls, almost like deer poop or goat poop.
Yeah.
Like compacted grass. It was the cutest thing ever. And it was like,
that is so cool. Yeah. Such cute.
It was awesome.
Yeah. That is awesome. That's so cool. Such a neat experience. All right. Well, let's go ahead and get kind of moving and grooving on this. I'm going to be kind of looking at my notes as I'm talking to you guys because this is something I have just learned myself not long ago. And so I want to make sure that I'm telling you guys the right things. But what I want to talk about tonight is something called profitable prospecting. And so this profitable prospecting is something that is going to allow you to get in front of the right people and get on their radar and build a relationship with them. Okay, now we all know that we're supposed to be connecting and networking with people and growing our network, but sometimes I'll be honest, that can be a lot. Like if you're trying to do that every day, it can get overwhelming. Like, okay, now I've got to spend this much time. Or what you end up finding is when you get on Instagram or Facebook, obviously the people that it shows us are the people we interact with most. And it might be that most of the people you see are Palmafera people. And that is a good thing because that shows we're supporting each other, but that also can, I wouldn't say a bad thing. It's not a bad thing, but it also makes it harder on our business because our business is reaching out to those other people, not our Palmafera friends and family. And so when all we're seeing are their stuff, it makes it harder for us to reach people and interact with the people we need to give this opportunity to or to our products to. And so this is something that I have just implemented probably just last week, and it's helped me save time on my interactions and not feel that I have to be commenting every single day. Now, both of you ladies are newer in your business, which is great. And so the engagement is I think, I wish I would have had this when I first kind of started too. So I think that you're really going to like this. And so obviously we know that cold messaging, I know you guys have probably heard of cold messaging, but that's something that we know that it just doesn't feel good. Back in the day, that was something you could totally do and get away with because people didn't know what you were doing. But now we 100% know when someone is trying to prospect us or to do something like that, and it doesn't feel good. And so this is a way to engage with the right people and be intentional with them without them knowing that they are being prospected. And that's kind of the beauty of it. Okay. So what my challenge is going to be for you guys, and I have my little list as well, is I want you guys to start, and you can make this list as big as you want to. You can make it up to 20 people, up to 50 people, but I want you all to start with 10 people on your list of people that you either want to have on your team or you think our products would help them. So if you wanted to do like half and half or something, like 5 people you can think of you'd really like to be on your team, and then the other 5 people you think our products could really benefit them. And then, because where Palmafera is so new to your all's networks, you would just stay more in your warm market of these people's. And then eventually, like for me, example, I've been doing this for about 5 months and I'm still in my what's called warm market. And warm market just means the people that know us, that we can have a conversation with. Cold market is more of someone that we have no idea who they are. And then our lukewarm market is more of the people that maybe they know us, but we're just more acquaintances, or maybe we went to high school and we haven't spoken to them in like 20 years or whatever. Okay, so I'm technically, for example, I'm still barely in my warm market. So meaning I am going to have to start reaching out and creating relationships with other people to keep growing my business. And so as you guys hit that mark where you're like, okay, I need to expand my reach. A couple ways. So what you'll do is you'll start adding people to your warm market. Or from your cold market to your warm market by using these tactics as well. Okay. Now, let me tell you before we get into it how to find people in your network that would be a good fit for you. Okay. So like I said, right now you're more in your warm market, but this is going to be for later down the road. So there's a couple different ways, but some of the great ways to find new people without them knowing they're being prospected is through hashtags. Hashtags are a great one. And so with how that would work is for example, I would look up like my ideal client and customer is more of like a mom. So I would look up mom hashtags and search people in those hashtags, click on somebody, see if there's somebody that I think would be a good fit or would be interested. And then that would be one way. Okay. So hashtags. So look in the hashtags of the things that interest you. So like you love traveling, you love DIY stuff. So like those could be cool hashtags that you could look up because you want to find things that you can have common interests in with those people. Shauna, you would be good with like, mom fitness type stuff. I'll look at a lot of mom fitness type stuff as well. Okay. So looking through hashtags. Another great one is suggested accounts. So we know how Instagram and even Facebook will show us, like when we follow somebody, it'll show us suggested accounts of other people. So that's another good way of finding different people. And then another, you can find them anyways, but another really easy one is locations. So like if you're wanting to find people more in your area, looking at the locations on Instagram. I've tried to do that. I didn't do a very good job at that, but it's actually pretty easy to do. I just haven't done it myself yet because my phone wasn't working and I was like, I'm not going to do this right now. But you can like look at, gyms, National Fitness or whatever type gyms or, any type of location. Maybe it's something that you would share a common interest with that person in or something like rock climbing or whatever it could be. Okay, but looking and seeing where people are checking in now, that could be another way to find potential prospects. Okay, so let's talk about really quick once we find new prospects, and then we'll kind of come back to the other stuff. Okay, the warm market, what we were talking about before. Now this is going to also let me see, I want to make sure that I tie this in. Okay, yes. So once you find somebody that you're like, I really like this person, I think that we would vibe well, whatever, you're not going to do what a lot of us see many people do. What we see happen is you might see somebody like 10 of your pictures, and they do that because they want to be noticed by you and they want you to follow them. Okay, but we're not going to do that. Okay, so what you're going to do is you are going to follow that person. And then if they have made a recent post in the last 1 to 2 days, you're going to comment or engage on that post. And it's going to be something that's thoughtful. So, I would rather it not be like emoji type stuff, but just something like, girl, that sweater's fire, where did you get it? Or, just anything that would strike a conversation with that person. Or even sometimes my first interaction with that person, I might not do that, but I might, just say one thing and just know that I'm on their radar. So you would make a comment, or if they have they're active in their stories on that day. We know stories are a great way to connect with people a little bit deeper because it's in the DMs. And so I would try to comment on something in their stories as well. And then you add them to your little list. And then we're going to talk a little bit more in depth in that list too. But that is how we are going to engage with someone. And then we leave it at that. We leave it at that for the day. We don't hit them with the business opportunity. We are just getting on their radar. They've seen us now, and they might not even follow us back yet, and that's okay. Okay, but then, so that's going to be how we can find new people. Okay, so let me make sure, now I'm going to kind of jump back up because now we're going to talk about okay, yes. So now let's go ahead. We've talked about how to find new people. Let's talk about our list. So say we have our list of 10 people, and what we're going to do is every 2 to 3 days, we are going to bust this list out. We're going to find 5 to 10 minutes, or preferably, you can also do this before you make a post, because Instagram knows that if we are active on our Instagram for like 5 to 10 minutes before we post, it's going to boost our engagement more, as well as if we're on it 5 to 10 minutes after we post. Okay. Now I will tell you, for me personally, I will not get my list out every time I post, because if you guys are posting every day, we don't want to prospect those people every single day. So what I'll do is, if it's not a prospecting day per se, I will just comment on the people in my feed that just kind of come up as they are, regardless of who they are. Okay. But if it is a prospecting day, meaning every 2 to 3 days, and what I just started doing is I just wrote it on my calendar. I just put a star on those days. So then when I looked at my calendar, I was like, okay, today's the day that when I make my post, the people I need to interact with before or after are my prospect people. Okay. And that way, because when we hit them up before we make a post, it's more likely that they're going to see our post. And that's how they find out about us. That's how they find out about our skincare, is because when we interact with them, Instagram sees that we are, they think we're friends. And so they're going to think, oh, they're talking, so they must be friends. So I'm going to make sure that she can see, they can see each other's posts. Okay. And that's how they can find out about Pomifera and get interested in it that way. Okay. And that's why, one, being consistent is so important for us as well. Okay. So every 2 to 3 days, we're interacting with that 10 groups of people. And also it makes it so easier, because I know that, I don't know if you guys had looked, but Kristen Vance had talked about how we need to comment, like we need to have 5 new friends a day and comment and stuff. And I will tell you, I tried to do that and it was really overwhelming. I was like, this is a lot for someone who, like most of us, we have a full-time job. And that's not our full-time job. You know, like Pomifera is a lot of these ladies' full-time jobs, and they have time to sit and spend 30 minutes a day prospecting people, but we don't. So we've got to be what's called smart with our prospecting and make sure we're reaching the right people. And this will save us a lot of time. And I've found this has made it so much less stressful for me doing this, because I have my list, I pop it out, and then I'm like, okay, these are the people that I type in their names, and then I go and comment on them. And if they don't have anything posted for that day, I just don't comment, because you don't want to be like going back to their comments in like January and commenting. They're like, okay, why is this creeper on my page creeping? So if they don't have anything new posted or anything, just be like, okay, that's okay. I'll come back another day or whatever. All right. So we've added them to the list every 2 to 3 days. We are checking in again and just replying to maybe a comment they've made, something on their stories. And over time, you're just building that rapport with them. Okay. And then, and then it's one of those things that over time, as we build rapport to them, that it is going to just feel natural, or you'll know when the right opportunity might be for you to bring up something about Pomifera or the opportunity. I find that it always happens. Like I've had a couple of girls that I've made friends with on Instagram, and it's maybe been 2 months. And then finally that opportunity of something comes up. Like one time, one of this girl posted something like, I wish that I could stay home with my daughter or something. And so that's when I said, I just said, hey, no pressure. I know you've seen my Pomifera post, but that could definitely be an option for you if, you'd be interested in, learning about Pomifera. And she was, and she ended up not joining, but she bought a bunch of stuff from me because she loved the products. And so then I'm hoping she now will, once she loves them, she might join. Okay. Because then again, later on, I'll remind her, hey, this, yeah, hello. Yeah. Reminded her, this is an option for you. And I know you would do well and rock this type stuff. So you'll know, so like with this type of prospecting, it doesn't have to feel spammy. You don't have to feel like you're reaching out to those people, because where you're building that relationship, we know that people will buy from us if they like, know, and trust us. So we're building that like, that know, that trust, and especially building that trust because we're not just pushing our products on them like a lot of companies do. And I think that's why a lot of people don't like MLMs, is because a lot of them are so pushy on stuff, and still are to this day. And it's like, people, we know what you're doing. Like it's annoying. So, and that's why I like Pomifera so much too, because I've never felt like I have to be spammy or push, anything. It's just that I'm sharing something that I love. So, now another thing, let's see. When to remove. Okay, so let's talk about also when to remove a person from that list, because this list should always be ever changing. Okay, we should be taking people off once maybe they've bought from us, or maybe once they've joined, and maybe removing people if they're just negative Nancy's or whatever it may be. So typically, if it's been about 2 to 3 weeks and they haven't responded to a single message, they've not responded to anything, and get them out. I mean, for example, I've already taken 2 people off my list that I've reached out, commented to them and in their messenger asking questions, and it's been 3 times and they've not said anything back to me, even though they've seen it. So obviously I'm just going to move on from that person. And usually will unfollow them because I don't want to keep seeing their stuff. It's nothing against them. But if they don't follow me now, another thing is, if you have someone who, obviously our goal is for them to follow us, so they'll start seeing our stuff. But if, say, you have somebody that hasn't followed you yet, but they are engaging with you, keep trying with that person, because if they're talking to you, that's a good thing. And eventually I think they will follow you. Okay, so you can kind of play that by ear. You can tell, if they're being super short with you and stuff, then it's like, okay, break it up. It's not worth it. But you'll get that feel. You'll know if someone's genuine and if they're being nice and stuff, and if it's worth keeping talking to them. Okay. So like I said, once we delete somebody, though, we add somebody new. Okay, so we're always keeping that list of at least 10 people. I have my list at about 15, I think, for me personally, but you can do whatever feels right for you. If 10 feels good, start with 10. But if you're like, man, I know there's more people in my head I want to look at, then add them. But start with what feels comfortable for you. So that's kind of how we know when to add them, when to not. And there might be some people, like there's some people that I have written on my list that have been on my list literally since day one I started this, but they still interact. I know they still watch my stories. And Lo, we were talking about this the other day. It's very normal. And Shauna, you probably see this too. You might have a lot of people watching your stories, but maybe they're not interacting on the posts or, hitting the yes or no. That is completely normal, especially when you're first starting out. And one, it's normal for me still, but it's very normal because those people are still getting a feel for the products that you guys are showing them, because it typically takes someone at least 7 times to see something before it really strikes their interest or piques their interest. And they're really like, maybe I really should look into this. Because think about it. For us personally, like that's not something, like if we see something one time, we usually just scroll right past it and we don't really think much of it. But then we see it again and then we see it again. And then it's like, okay, maybe I really need to look into this stuff, So just know that right now your market is still very curious about it. And that's why your consistency, and you two ladies do an amazing job of being consistent. Which is awesome. And I was telling Lo this too. I personally, and Jordan, your upline, Shauna, can attest to this too, that I told her from the beginning, I said, listen, you're 2.5 to 3 months into this business. I promise is going to be like your best month and you're going to explode. And that exact same thing happened to Jordan. I don't know what it was, but it's just where that consistency and sometimes just showing up and showing those people over and over and over, they finally realized, okay, this is a good product. I need to try it. And that's when her business boomed. That's when my business boomed, because they finally were like, okay, I trust her now. She's been talking about it long enough and now I'm ready. So just know, one, that's normal that people don't interact. It's annoying, but it's okay. Because people think if they interact, then that means they've got to buy it or they've got to sell it, So just know people are just getting a feel for what you're doing right now, and that's completely normal. Okay. And then, like I was saying, engaging before and after your posts with those people on your days of, reaching out to these people. And then let me see if there's anything else. And yeah, that's pretty much the gist of it. And so I wanted to show you or tell you what I have written on my sheet. And I have on my list, I have some people that are on Facebook and some people that I follow. Like some people don't have an Instagram and they're just on Facebook. A couple are on both. Typically, I don't know what you guys have found, but I have personally found that more of my sales come from Instagram, and I really thought it was going to be from Facebook. And I was really surprised by that because I really thought Facebook is where more connections are made, I feel like. And I just thought Facebook would be where it's at. But I found for me Instagram, but everybody's different. And so I would try to connect with different people on different platforms. But like I was saying, for me, I have some that are on Facebook, some that are not. And so I'll just get on my Instagram, hit those people up first. And then I only have maybe one or two that are just not on Instagram, and just look on Facebook. So just know that whichever platform they're on, that doesn't make a difference. It's just whatever, it's fine. But for me, so I have their name. So on my list, I have their name written down. And I also, if I don't know who they are, like they're not a personal friend or someone I truly know, I write down their Instagram handle just so I can easily find them. So I have name, IG handle. I wrote down on here date followed, but I'll be honest, I haven't used that at all. So, I mean, I think if you want to get really into it, you can, but you don't have to. Another one is that it's good to keep track on is followed back. So did they follow you back, or do they follow you? So that way you know, okay, they have followed me back. That's a good thing. We're making progress. And then I also have on there if they're in my cold, lukewarm, or my warm market. So I have on there which market. So like if they're cold, so that way I know if they are cold, have I turned them into more of a lukewarm person, because she has been reaching out to, or, we have been conversing or talking, type thing. And that's just something that I mean, personally, I haven't kept up with a ton. I just have it on there so I know at the beginning what type of, like, okay, if this is a cold person, I might reach out to them differently than I might someone that's in like my hot market, like a really good friend or something, if that makes sense. Like, how conversations might be a little different. And then also the last one, I just have converted. And I will tell you, I have, since doing this, I have had a couple people convert to either a sale. Yeah, I've had one person convert to, actually two. I've had two people convert to sale. And then two of them I wrote down rude just because they didn't talk back to me, which then not being rude, but I was like rude. And then I marked them off. And so then I added two more people. But this for me, so if you're wondering there's a lady named Allie Reeves, and she is from Knoxville. Do you know Allie Reeves, Lo?
So I only know her because you mentioned her in that last training you did.
Yeah.
And I went and subscribed immediately. And I think I listened to the podcast that's similar to what you're saying.
Nice.
Love her in general now. Like, even just the way she talks. Yeah, it's super easy to listen to.
Yes, I love her. So she is awesome. And so she is who I got this from. And so I am in she has something called a mastermind class, a Game Changer Mastermind or something. And I actually am doing that right now. And so that's where I'm learning all this stuff. And so what I'm going to be learning, I'm going to be sharing with you guys. Because I found that it's been so valuable. And one, like I said, I think this is such an easy way to target people and it not seem overwhelming, because I know when I first started, it was very overwhelming. Like, okay, who do I talk to? I had a list of like 50 people written down, and I'm just like, well, I guess I'll look at that list today and pick a couple. It was just really frustrating. It was just a lot. And so just breaking it down to a couple people at a time, one, saves you time, and you can really be intentional with those people. And then you add and grow that list, take people off as it happens. And that way you can really focus on building a relationship. Because what I was finding, I was trying to build a relationship with so many people at a time that it wasn't genuine. And it might be a comment every other 2 weeks, because I wasn't intentional on it. And then, like I said, how this works is where we keep commenting, we keep talking to them. They then see our stuff. They then see that we're a genuine person. We're not trying to spam them or anything. and then they eventually see our stuff, they start looking, and that's where they get curious. And both of you ladies do a great job, like I said, of the consistency, and that's where that really pays off when you're doing something like this, for sure. Yes, Allie reads Shauna. If you don't follow her, I would definitely follow her. I mean, when I first started, she was one of the first people I listened to. Yeah, I need to upgrade. Okay, she's one of the first people I listened to. And I mean, was phenomenal on helping me like with my Instagram, just like what it looks like and making it look clean and professional and all of that stuff. And I will tell you, I want to do like a thing on that for us too, about like, helping our Instagrams and what they look like and stuff and all that stuff, because she is phenomenal and she gives it all for free too. I mean, all the stuff that she talks about is free. So she has a really good podcast. So podcast is amazing. And yes, she has a really nice voice to listen to. And what's funny, of course, Mitchell, my husband, he knows like so many people. And where she's from, Knoxville, one of his good friends in Knoxville was her friend. And I remember we went out with them one night. And she was so drunk, she doesn't remember. And this was like, I mean, years ago. I mean, this is like 7 years ago. But I remember I didn't bring it up when I talked to her, but I was like, yeah, you were really drunk when I met you. But I mean, I've met her in person actually, which is really funny to think of. But she is a really good person though. But yes, so that is my challenge for you guys, is just to keep updating that list. What I would do is kind of think about updating your list every 2 weeks, and then blocking out time every 2 days is what I would do. Okay. And then if they don't follow you after 2 weeks, then just kind of assess the situation. Like I said, if they're still engaging with you, still being thoughtful, keep them on there and just see if they eventually follow you. Because obviously if they don't follow us, they're not seeing our stuff. And so that's the whole goal, is to get them to follow us. Okay. So
I have a question.
yes.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No.
Like where we're both kind of new and like I'm gonna be starting in my warm market.
Mm-hmm.
They're already my friend. They already follow me. So is it just a matter of just that commenting before and after I post, and then
Yes.
waiting for them to come to me?
Yes. Now that is a good question too. So I will say, when I first started, if they were really good friends of mine, especially with the sample stuff, I text them and be like, okay, I want to send you some samples of this stuff. Like, it's the real deal. Like, I know you'll love it. And I didn't really give them an option type thing. Like that's what I did with my best friend, Tori. I was like, okay, Tori, like, you've got to try this stuff. Like, I want to just send you some samples. And she fell in love with it, and it's changed her skin drastically. So when it comes to like your really, really close friends, with them, it's different. And I think you can be a little bit more upfront and forward. And typically how I do that, instead of being like, okay, I need you to buy this stuff, is I'll hit them with a gift. Like, okay, I'm going to send you some samples. Like, I'm excited to send you some samples of this stuff so you can try. But I will say, like, on my list, almost every person on this list is someone that I was already friends with, and they're already following me. And so whether they're a really close friend, like some of these are people that I could text if I wanted to. And then other people are more like Instagram type friends that maybe I went to high school with, or, whatever type thing. But that is a good question. So yes, I think it just depends on where it is, a new warmer market. Like I said, my close friends, I more so texted them and was like, okay, you really got to try this stuff. Like, let me send you some samples. And that worked well for me. And honestly, all the girls that I sent samples to that were my friends, I mean, it wasn't a ton of them, but one of them is a regular customer now, and then one of them is on our team and joined. So does that make sense? Does that help?
Yeah.
Okay. And I know you have to reach out to Jessica, because I know she bought some of the Rejuvenating Youth a long time ago. So
yeah, she actually bought I think she bought a couple things for Brittany.
Nice.
Because I had gotten, I was like, oh my gosh. And she goes, I bought some of that for BK for Christmas.
Yeah.
And so I've been talking to BK because she likes it. And I'm like, when you're ready to order, I'm not trying to steal anybody from anybody.
No, she is not mine. So no, and that's the thing. Like that is your like she is your person, and that's who I want you to. I want you to take her. Yes, for sure. Because dang, if you could get BK selling this stuff, that would be awesome.
Oh,
She
I could
knows
tell her.
so many people.
So many, and she just has the personality for it. And I know that she's doing something that she doesn't even really. She kind of likes what she does, but
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, she would be awesome. No, those are your people. You get them. Yes, because I actually thought of that. I was like, Lo needs to hit up Jessica and her.
Buy it from me.
Huh?
Buy from you originally.
Yeah, I mean, she was one of my very first customers. Jessica had bought this stuff from for her for Christmas. Yeah.
Well, I don't want to steal her from you.
No, she really, I mean, listen, she's never reached out to me once again about it. So yeah, you're not stealing her, I promise. Trust me, I'm one of those people, if they're in your market, like I want them to be your customer. Like I've had a couple people reach out to me and I know they're better friends with someone else on the team. And I know that for me, I would feel not right doing that. And so I'm like, hey, I know that you're really good friends with Shelby. I want you to go talk to her and buy from her or, whatever.
Yeah.
So, I want that for you. Yes, for sure. Do you ladies, and I know I asked last time, but I mean, I have a list of stuff that I've written down of things that I want to do Zooms on and stuff for our team. But is there anything else that you guys can think of that would be helpful for you all that we don't already have like written down or that you've seen on the thing coming up that would be helpful for you guys?
I know for me, one of the things I'm trying to do is like learn the benefits of all the products, but I know that you've made a video and that there's so many videos out there.
Oh my gosh, I
So
know.
it's really just going through them all.
Yes. Have you watched the one that I made?
Yes, I want to say you actually made it the day I joined, maybe. Did you make it like the last week of February? No? Or maybe that's just when
No,
I
that
watched.
one's been on the, well, so the group, those little groups that I made, those are brand new and I had just made those, but that video is older.
The
So
40, I think it's 45 minutes.
yes, it's a long one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yes, you watched it. Yes. And I will say I will say we can do something like that on the Zoom, like just more in depth on the products. I will say that it's one of those things that with the products I'm still learning to this day. Like I still like that vitamin C post I posted that was talking about the benefits. Like I didn't know that until today about our vitamin C. I had no idea about the different things that like its concentration and different thing. And so there's a lot of things that I'm still learning myself. And I will just tell you, the more that you what I did at first is I really focused on the back of the bottles and learn and just really seeing what the back of the bottle said because they worded it very well. And then also just how can I relay that to someone in very more simpler terms? Like someone is going to relate better with, then this is going to plump your skin. Somebody's going to relate better if you say, this helped I have very large pores and this helped, minimize my pores. So how can you take what these products do and make them into simpler things that people relate with? So like, for example, the stimulating exfoliant cleanser, I like to call it coffee for your face because that's what it feels like. And so people relate very well to that. And so just thinking of different ways to word it that people can relate to very simply. It doesn't always have to be about the science behind the product. People just want to know that it works for them and how. Like, as long as you're just showing them, this has really helped my dark spots. This has really helped brighten my skin. Those are the words and the things that people are looking for, not that this is infused with vitamin E and it's going to be 10 times more effective. Well, I don't care. They want to know how it's going to help them. And that's the biggest thing that I focus on. But you do want to learn about the products and know about them and stuff too. But we can do some product 101, maybe like kind of do like a highlight on certain products. Like this week we'll do a little highlight of this and this or something. And that's something that I want to kind of do in my group too. is I want to do like in our Facebook group, have it to where like once a week I highlight a product and like tell all the benefits and just have it all in one place. I started to do that and then I was like, oh my God, this is really time consuming. So I stopped. But something like, even if we just did like a Zoom, like the first couple minutes, okay, here's this product, let's talk about it and stuff. We could do that. So yes, I've had that written down. So products. Very good one.